Hey guys, I'm Cori, the presenter for Channel 5's NFL End Zone, and you're listening to Cleats Off podcast with Liz Bhandari.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cleats Off podcast. I'm your host Liz Bhandari and this is the show that brings you closer to the game you love. Today's guest is Cori Yarckin, presenter of our favourite Sunday morning show, NFL End Zone on Channel 5. Enjoy! We're into a new NFL season and NFL End Zone's back on Channel 5. Like, how good does that feel?
Yeah, it feels so good to have a season 2. TV is a funny beast, right? So, when season 1 ended, we were like, oh, that was amazing. How fun. I can't believe it went so fast. And then it's just like, you don't hear anything, we're like, oh, we hope for season 2. But you just, in entertainment, and especially in my career, I've learned that I don't believe anything until it's actually happening. And for this show, for season 2, I didn't hear that it got picked up until, probably like mid-August.
Wow.
Maybe like the beginning of August, and it came out of nowhere. I kind of like written it off. I'm like, I'm planning my year. It's been, how many months? March, like 5 months. It's crazy. So I was so excited, and then not nervous, but like, oh my God, this train is about to be moving. I'm having a blast. What's so cool is that I'm finally at the games, because there was COVID last year. There was no fans and there was no games. Media, not all media was let in, including me.
Yeah, so. Of course. Yeah. I mean, that must have been a weird thing to adapt to as well. I mean, how did you find that?
I mean, when I first got this show, I was like, what is this show going to be about? I mean, there's no fans. Like, what are we going to, and no people, and nobody's allowed in restaurants. Like, what are we going to cover? But, the producers of the show are great, and like, they're very creative, and it was still a lot of fun. It was so weird. So I'm like, I'm on TV, but then I have to wear a mask, most of the time, like, people probably don't even know what I look like. So yeah, but then that was kind of the thing. It's like, okay, well, maybe there will be a season 2 because there's so much we didn't get to see and experience and do. Like, the fans are kind of the bulk of our like show and our content. So it was very strange. But now I'm like, we're in a rhythm. We're still like dealing with COVID stuff, of course. America's, I know, slightly different on the COVID front than the UK. But it's weird. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been weird for everyone. So tell me a little bit like how, I suppose your career and how you've ended up on our screens through this show.
Okay, I mean, I'll try not to make it too long, but the long and short of it is that I've been in entertainment a really long time, like all throughout high school. I danced, I was in theater, and then after, when I went to university, college, we call it here, I went to school, but I was also pursuing a music career. So I had a band, and that was super fun. I traveled the country like with my band, and we did like really good. Made it pretty far in the music industry, but music is really tough. Yeah. I moved to LA for music, and when I was in LA, I couldn't pay my bills, and a girlfriend of mine, like, kind of, I won't say lied, but kind of lied and got me a job with Fox over there, doing like red carpet reporting, like for movie premieres and press junkets, interviewing celebrities. So I didn't go to school for hosting or presenting. I learned to do this like by being thrown into the trenches. Basically, I cut my teeth on the red carpet interviewing like the biggest celebrities. I wasn't necessarily on camera, but you learned how to like talk to people and not be intimidated by people. But yeah, so then I found myself in LA, and eventually I was doing that, but not doing music anymore. And I really, really wasn't enjoying this entertainment reporting so much in that aspect. Like, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. Like, I'm standing in the sun for 2 hours waiting for someone who thinks they're really cool to maybe talk to me. So I ended up moving back home. I'm from Orlando, Florida. And when I moved back home, I wasn't doing music anymore really. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I found myself, I got a job with the NBA team in Orlando, the Orlando Magic, as the in-arena MC, which means like during the time when you're actually at the NBA game, during the timeouts, I'm up on the Jumbotron doing like contests with fans and glorified commercials from the team shop and calling out the mascot or the dancers or whatever. And I think that's really where I've kind of like sunk my feet in, because I'm still with the Orlando Magic. Ninth season with them. So being in front of 18,000 people every like 41 home games a season, super duper live, no script, no teleprompter, like you just kind of like make it work, you know. So a lot of, you see people on the news or maybe even on these like entertainment shows, and they're very put together, they're very like, the way they do things is like you can tell they've been groomed. And when you watch me, I'm just like, this is what you get, guys. This is me. I didn't have that training, so it just, you know, it's just a different style, I guess. But and I've done a lot of other presenting stuff. I've done a lot of sports. I found myself in sports somehow. And a year ago during COVID, a production company, England, had called a camera guy friend of mine and was like, you know, could you film this show because you're in America? And he's like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And then they're like, oh, also we're looking for an American presenter, do you know anyone? And he's like, oh, I got just the girl. And boom, here I am. So that's kind of the long short version of
that's awesome. I love
it. It's been great. Always different.
Yeah, definitely. And is sports something that you were like into and passionate about previously, or is it just something you've grown to love as you've done these kind of roles?
I mean, if I'm to be completely honest, I'd say it's something I've grown to love as I've found myself in this world. Like I did, I have an older brother, you know, so like I grew up around sports, and then, you know, I've been working in it for so long that like, you know, between the basketball and now the football and golf and tennis and like all sorts of stuff I've done, you get a front row seat, you know. And what happens if you weren't necessarily into sports before is now you get that you have just a much larger appreciation for why people are so emphatic about it, or I get it, you know, when you're so immersed in it, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, now it makes sense, you know. Like who would have thought that I would have been interested in golf, and now I'm like, okay, I like want to know who's going to win the Ryder Cup. Let's go America, right? So so that's the honest answer.
No, I love that. I mean, I think that's you know, often the way it goes. Right, so let's talk about NFL End Zone. What was it about it when they approached you that made you so excited to take on the role?
I mean, first and foremost, just kind of like what we just talked about, is that because I feel like the role was created for me in a way, like, because I'm not behind a desk talking stats, right? I'm not that kind of sports person. I'm not a sideline reporter. I don't know if you have those in England. You know, so they're like, it's a bit of fun. We're going to go on a tour around America, which I've always wanted my own travel show. So here you go. And we're going to be talking to fans and just seeing the fun side of sports. And that's kind of who I am as a presenter. Like, I don't take myself too seriously. And I'm like, so yeah, I was like, this couldn't be more perfect for me, you know?
And I guess as someone who hasn't seen the show before, what do you think makes it so special?
Well, I think what makes NFL End Zone special and different from most of the other shows, even here in America, is that it is lighthearted, right? When I explain it to the people I'm going to be interviewing to give them like a sense of what we're going for, it's a half-hour magazine show. It airs Sunday morning. So you think about, you know, parents waking up and their kids watching cartoons and they just have the telly on and whatever comes on is what it is. It's very fast paced. Not, you know, it's half travel show, half football show. We're throwing to highlights. We're throwing to like, we want to get to know if we're talking about players, we're not necessarily talking about how good or bad they are. It's more like, what was in their Instagram feed this week, or, what's their story. We're learning about each city we go to. It's lighthearted and fun and trying to be educational at the same time. So someone that's watching this show will get something. If they know a lot about football, they'll get something out of it because they're learning about, Aaron Rodgers. And, I learned this week that he got drafted by the 49ers, and then or it didn't work. They didn't draft him, right? And then he ended up at Green Bay and killed it in his career, but he wanted to be drafted by the 49ers because from California. Like, you learn these like things that you might not have known or whatever. And then for new people to the NFL, it's, we're teaching, like last season, we taught a lot about the rules and just how things go in the NFL, because it's still pretty foreign to a lot of you guys. Like, there's a fan base, but it's still niche. So we're trying to like grow the NFL fan base over there. And that's kind of the goal.
So talk me through the process of recording the show then. Like, how does, I guess, each, I know it's not filmed in a day. So like, talk me through, I guess, like the few days that are there. What's that typical time look for you?
Yeah, well, what's interesting this season, for the most part, not every single episode, but the idea of the season was that we're covering all the Thursday night games. So if you want to know the schedule of where we're going to be each week, you can look that up. How it works for me is I'll travel on a Tuesday, we shoot Wednesday, Thursday, and I travel on a Friday. So Wednesday shoot days is typically when we're like running around the city, like seeing the sights, doing a feature on like a food place or something like that. The show will have already aired, but we did a piece yesterday on this really amazing kid who plays high school football. He's the quarterback, but he's a double amputee. And like it was just really an amazing story. And like, things like that will typically be filmed on the Wednesday, and now Thursdays are game days. So, it's 1:30 where I'm at. My call time's 3:00. Sounds late, but the game doesn't start till 7. So from here, I'll typically go to a tailgate, meet a super fan, then we go into the stadium and we're seeing all of that, and we stay for the game, and then that's the day. So it's pretty full on, like it's like 10-12 hour days of just the shooting, and it's a very small crew. It's like me, a camera, and like a assistant or a PA, they call it, running around like crazy, like it's nuts. And then when we come back late at night, I am sending the footage back to England, and then they edit it. They have a really quick turnaround. Think about it. Like, I sent them footage last night. They're going to get footage tonight. But tomorrow morning, Friday morning, they have to turn the show around to send to Channel 5 for approval, for a Sunday morning broadcast. So the people in England don't sleep much, put it that way.
No, I can imagine they don't.
Yeah, it's a really amazing team. I got to give a shout out to Whisper TV. They're the production company. They do a lot of really cool stuff in sports, like Formula One and a lot of rugby and stuff like that. So they're the ones who really brought me in, and they make me look good. So
so you've been really fortunate to travel to some really amazing places. Which, I guess, team's city have you yet to visit that you really want to see, and why?
That's a good question. I'm thinking about the schedule this year. And it's funny because I'm going back to a few of the same places that I went. And I mean, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to Seattle. And I've been to Seattle once or twice, but I love Seattle, and I really haven't spent a lot of time there. And again, what's so cool about this show is that they take me to all the very special places. So I'm sure that I'm going to get to do a lot of cool things, and just, being around a team like the Seahawks is going to be really neat. And I get to wear bright green. I plan all my outfits, everyone. And if you haven't noticed, I try and match the team that we're visiting. It's a lot of work, so give me credit. I'm excited to go to Seattle. We didn't go to LA last year. We did do the 49ers, but we're doing like a full LA, California trip. So I'm excited to see what we'll do there. I used to live in LA, so it's not but to to be around those fans
Yeah.
will be really cool. I'm excited to go back to New Orleans because when I was there last season, although that was one of my favorite episodes, it was like a ghost town. Like, you know, New Orleans is such a vibrant place, and to have no one there was like kind of sad, and like no one in the Superdome was kind of sad. And then, you know, I don't think it's not on the schedule to go to New York, but basically the schedule is done until December. And then when Thursday night games are done, I don't know what they're going to do, but I think it'll be based on who's in the playoffs and things like that. So I'd like to go to New York. I've been, but like to do the show in New York. Their fans are crazy. I mean, Vegas, the Raiders are looking really good, right? And last year we did go to Vegas, but we didn't get to go in the stadium. And I didn't really get to be around too many fans because their fans are bananas. They're wild, you know? So I'm going to Philly in a couple of weeks, and I love Philadelphia, but I'm scared to go back because Eagle fans are like, they are like something else. They're hardcore.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess of the cities that you visited, the fans you've met, the food that you've eaten, which would you say stood out the most?
Food?
Your food, the fans, everything. Food, I feel like you're going to say New Orleans, but I don't know.
Well, I love that episode. It was so good. It was fun. I mean, I had all sorts of, I eat so much on this show. It's oh my God. Food. I mean, I'm so particular to Philadelphia. I don't know why. I mean, I was like knocking the fans, but I just love the city. I love that it's like, I love New York, right? New York City, but Philadelphia to me is like a small New York, cleaner, more culture, more art, better cool music. And there's so much history, like Benjamin Franklin's house is in between like two high rises. Like it's so crazy. And the Liberty Bell's right there. It's really, really cool. And here's a fun fact. It's kind of sad, but like there was a segment that got cut from last season. We were at this place called Delco Steaks, and we did we started the season with doing these like eating contests. And so we did this eating contest at Delco Steaks, and it was the most amazing segment. It was hilarious. And it ended up getting cut because the NFL thought it was like promoting binge eating, which I get, but I was so bummed because it was just really funny. New Orleans has great food. I don't know. Chicago was amazing. Like I love Chicago, so I don't think we're going back this season, but so
yeah. Listen, it's been amazing to chat to you. Before we go, do you want to let people know where they can follow you on social?
Oh yes, please. Thank you. I guess I really only kind of focus on Instagram. I just don't have time for all the different things, guys. So follow me on Instagram. It's just my name at Cori Yarckin, but you got to spell it right. Okay. So get your pen and paper out. Okay. It's CoriYarckin. Okay. Follow me on Instagram. Get my followers up, guys. No, I appreciate just you guys following along, and it because I like to share my journey. I do all these cool things, like, and it's so fun to like post all this stuff. Like yesterday I was in, you'll see on the show, and it's only for like one line, but I'm there for like an hour at this it's called Sugar Hill Recording Studios, and it's where Beyonce did her first Destiny's Child recorded there, and Lil Wayne recorded there, and so many people. It's crazy. Yay. So yeah, but I appreciate you, and thanks for having me on Cleats Off. I don't got no cleats on.
You're in your hotel, that's allowed.
I know, I still have my pajama pants on, but don't tell anyone.
Oh, it's been amazing to chat. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you.
I loved speaking to Cori. She's such a positive bundle of energy, and I loved hearing her story. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Well, that's it for another episode of the Cleats Off podcast. As always, I'd love your comments and feedback, so feel free to reach out to me at NFL Girl UK across Twitter, Facebook or Instagram. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. I wouldn't want you to miss a single episode. Until next time, thanks for listening.